Good morning. So it's been said that a disciple of Buddha who had supernatural powers once saw his deceased mother suffering in the realm of the hungry ghosts. He asked Buddha how he could help her. Buddha told him to make offerings to the monks who were returning from prayer. The disciple made his offerings, and his mother was released from her suffering. He was so happy he did a little dance. That dance, the Bon Odori, is part of the Japanese Buddhist Bon Festival that happens every August. Family members gather together to clean the graves of their ancestors and enjoy special feasts. Their spirits visit for 3 days, and at the end of the time of celebration, the spirits are sent back with a special fire ceremony. Every year in April, Chinese remember and honor their ancestors at the annual Qingming Festival. They sweep the tombs of the deceased and offer food, tea, wine, and chopsticks to their ancestors. They put pieces of multicolored paper on the gravesite. People go on family outings, they sing and they dance. Many fly kites in the shape of animals. It's also the time when young couples traditionally begin courting. You'll often see people carrying willow branches or putting them outside their houses. It's believed that they ward off the evil spirits who wander about on Qingming. The ancient Romans celebrated a festival called Paternalia. Every year they'd visit the graves of their deceased ancestors and make offerings of cakes and wine to them. Are you sensing a trend here? These are just a few examples of how some cultures honor their ancestors. There are many, many more. Today we're going to focus on something known as Day of the Dead. More than 2,000 years ago, the Aztec, in what's now part of Mexico, established a tradition honoring their dead for an entire month. Today it's mainly a 3-day celebration. On October 31st, families make an altar for the spirits of their deceased relatives to come back and visit. At midnight on November 1, the spirits of the little children, Los Angelitos, the little angels, come. This is the day of the innocents. The spirits of the adults come on November 2nd, Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. So Day of the Dead celebrations vary among cultures around the world, but all involve a welcoming of the spirits. In Celtic traditions, families go to the cemetery at night and anoint the hollow of the tombstone with holy milk or holy water. They also set an extra place for supper for the departed soul. In Brazil, they celebrate a public holiday, Finados. Family members carry flowers and candles to the cemetery to visit their loved ones. In Guatemala, they also fly kites. In the Philippines, the entire family spends a night or two at the cemetery with their loved one, eating, playing cards, singing, dancing, and drinking. In the United States, 3 of the largest Day of the Dead celebrations occur in San Diego, San Francisco, and Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts. So a key element of Day of the Dead is the ofrenda. An ofrenda is a collection of things gathered on an altar for a Day of the Dead celebration. It usually has 3 tiers. The top tier identifies the person who's being invited to the altar, the person who died. It might have their picture, or it might even have statuettes of saints or photos of saints. The next tier contains things that will encourage the spirit to visit and to feel comfortable. It might have their favorite food, or another common thing you'll see is a shot of tequila. Sometimes you see pumpkin seeds as a snack. If the deceased person is a child, you might find a favorite toy placed there. There will be candy and sweetbreads and all kinds of treats. There might even be a tiny dog, because dogs were believed to be guides for spirits. The bottom tier usually has candles to light the way for the spirits. This level might also contain a bowl of salt and some water for purification and cleansing. It's also to quench the thirst of the souls who are tired from their long journey. It might have a wash basin, a soap, mirror, and a towel, so that the spirit can see and refresh themselves upon arrival at the altar. The entire ofrenda might be decorated with lacy tissue, colorful tissue paper that signifies the wind and the fragility of life. There will be flowers, especially marigolds, which are said to be reminders of the fleeting nature of life. You might see sugar skulls on the ofrenda. These treats are made completely of sugar or chocolate, and sometimes have the name of the deceased stenciled on the forehead. They're said to represent the vitality of the departed soul. They're always pictured having a happy smile and with lots of color. All of these are celebrations of great joy. So this morning, we're going to make a stop on our spiritual journey to honor those who we've loved and lost. We'll honor parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, friends, and even pets. All of those who were precious to us and whose memories we hold in our hearts and remember with love. We'll begin our worship today at our own small ofrenda. There was a note in the newsletter and in the weekly announcements inviting you to bring a memento of someone special to you, and I know several of you did because I've seen these beautiful photographs. I invite you to come up and place them anywhere on the ofrenda. If you didn't bring anything, don't worry. I have a basket here with some small glass stones in it. Feel free to take one and bless it in the name of the person you wish to honor and place it on the ofrenda. You may come forward now.
Our reading this morning was written by Mary Elizabeth Fry. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die.
I love seeing all the pictures up here and all the pretty glass stones that represent those that we love. That's nice. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "In different hours, a man represents each of several of his ancestors, as if there were 7 or 8 of us rolled up in each man's skin. 7 or 8 ancestors at least, and they constitute the variety of notes for that new piece of music, which his life is. As much as we might like to sometimes believe otherwise, none of us got here on our own. We're all tethered by that invisible string. Each of us stands on the shoulders of those who came before us. Each of us is who we are today because someone or some creature who came before us loved us to where we are now." Thich Nhat Hanh says that if you look deeply into the palm of your hand, you'll see your parents and all the generations of your ancestors. All of them are alive in this moment. Each is present in your body. You are the continuation of these people. Or as Liam Callanan says, we're all ghosts. We all carry inside us the people who came before us. So I say it's only fitting that we remember and celebrate them today. I have a small altar in my home. It's not an altar in the traditional sense, but it's definitely a sacred space for me. My mother was a seamstress, and my father died when I was only 7. So to support us, my mother took in sewing. She had 5 or 6 regular clients for whom she made all their clothes. She also made all of our clothes and everything for our house. She could sew anything. And she did it all on an old-fashioned Singer machine when they were still made out of metal. It was mounted in a solid wood cabinet, you know, the kind that looks like a console table when the lid is closed. But most of the time, it stood open in the dining room where she worked. There were scratches from years of pins digging into the wood. There are marks from where an errant cigarette ash burned and stained the wood. She didn't give up smoking until much later. There were water stains from the cup of coffee or water she often had at her side. That machine made the money that sent me to Europe in high school. It made money for my laundry and trips home when I was in college. It made curtains and comforters and slip covers for more rooms than I can remember. It seemed like every semester I'd come home, the curtains were different because she got bored. Even after I graduated from law school and was working and able to help her out so she didn't have to work so much, that machine made copies of all the suits that the female lawyers wore on LA Law because she wanted me to be stylish in the courtroom. She died in 1992, and that cabinet is still with me. It moves with me wherever I go. On it, I have pictures of both my parents and my 2 brothers, all of whom have passed. My brother Rick's ashes are there. I also have 3 little candles there, and every day I use them to pray for those who came before me, for those who are here now, and for those who will come after me. Perhaps you have a similar space in your home, or maybe a similar spiritual practice that you do that honors your ancestors. I can tell by the love with which you've put these pictures into frames, there's some place, some special place of honor in your home. So if you're doing that, you might agree with me that performing these acts of ancestor veneration does 3 things. It preserves our memories, it teaches us gratitude and respect, and it grounds us. So, preserving memories. Scientifically speaking, memories are a series of encoded neural connections in our brains. More simply, they're recollections of past experiences. They can be visual, like a photo, or maybe a mental movie, like a replay of your first kiss, or your wedding day, or your first dance with someone special. Memories can be oral. Maybe you remember a song, or you have a memory of someone's voice. When I'm quiet, I can still hear my mother's clear soprano voice singing while she played the piano, or more often while she was sewing. I still hear my grandmother's laugh, clear as a bell. She had this deep chuckle, even though she's been gone for almost 40 years. Memories can even be smells. If I close my eyes, I can smell that combination of just a touch of cologne and pipe tobacco that would fill my nose every time I hugged my dad. Memories can be tactile. I remember the softness of my dog Tamika's fur as we would snuggle together in front of the fireplace. Honoring our ancestors also teaches us gratitude and respect. Now, I know sometimes memories aren't always pleasant. In Kafka on the Shore, Haruki Murakami writes, "Memories warm you up from the inside, but they also tear you apart." Even when they hurt, though, our memories are important. They're the story of our lives. They help us recall our past, and when we share them, they tell the story of ourselves, our family, and our community. Raven Caldera wrote what's called the Prayer for the Ancestors, and I won't read it all to you, but I'll give you a part of it. "Hail to those who suffered to gift me with blood. Hail to those who suffered to gift me with body. Hail to those whose songs gift me with inspiration. I live and love because you lived and loved. I speak and struggle because you spoke and struggled. Did you learn anything from your parents or your grandparents? How much did these people in these pictures teach you? Did they work hard so that you could have a warm, safe, and dry place to live as a child, or so that you could go to college? Did they sit up with you when you were sick? Did they comfort you or love you when you were sad? Then you owe them the honor of gratitude. If you identify as a female, or if you are a person of color, someone who came before you fought for your right to vote or your right to be free. If you are gay or lesbian, someone before you started the fight for gay rights long ago that led to your right today to be married to the person you love. I couldn't stand before you today as a female seminarian if it weren't for the so-called prophetic sisterhood of women who served Unitarian congregations in the 1800s and paved the way for women in the ministry. We honor our ancestors to show respect and gratitude for their efforts. And as you can see, they don't have to be blood relatives. They are just those who came before and helped us along our way. Honoring our ancestors also grounds us. My practice of pausing before my home altar each morning grounds me. In Spirit of Life, we sing, "Roots hold me close, wings set me free." Our ancestors are those roots that hold us close and ground us in who we are so that we can go out in the world and spread our wings. Today we honored our ancestors at our ofrenda. But what are some other ways you can honor your ancestors? Animist Daniel 4 specializes in ancestral healing, and he offers 5 ways to honor your ancestors. I'm going to supplement a few of them, but the concepts are his. Number 1, fulfill your soul's purpose as an ethical and loving person. The most important and most challenging way to honor our ancestors is to fulfill our personal potential and our life's purpose on earth. You can think of this as your calling or your destiny. When you fulfill your purpose and live your best life, you honor your ancestors. Robert Anton Wilson said, "Most of our ancestors were not perfect ladies and gentlemen. The majority of them weren't even mammals." We poke fun, but it's true. Sometimes our ancestors did bad things or struggled with personal demons, and that's okay. One of my brothers was an alcoholic and suffered from mental illness to the extent that he alienated himself from most of our family. In his honor, I strive to help those who suffer with depression and addiction, to love them as part of my ministry. What I experienced with Doug, while painful at times, helped shape the person I've become and provides one of the many blocks which form the foundation of my service. Number 2, dedicate positive actions in the name of your ancestors. If you're like me, you don't have the money or the power to have a building named after your loved one. You know, the Leah Corus Center, the Annenberg School of Communications, the AI DuPont Hospital. As much as I'd like to add the Catherine and Harry Simon Theater maybe to the list, it's probably not going to happen. But there are things that we can do when we have fewer means. You can make a contribution to a charity in your loved one's name, or plant a tree in their honor. It doesn't have to involve money at all, and can be something much more personal and intentional. 4 gives the example of dedicating his morning yoga practice to the well-being of his grandfather's spirit. If your loved one maybe harmed people in the past, dedicating a positive action in their memory might help your own healing practice. For example, many ancestors of Nazi soldiers made contributions or dedication to Holocaust memorials. You may not name that person in the dedication as you would say that you're planting a tree in someone's honor. It would be more of a gesture of atonement, but it may also provide some healing for you in the process. Number 3, stay open to direct communication from your ancestors. When I'm trying to work through a problem, I often ask myself, what would Mom do? When I get really quiet and still enough to listen, the answer usually comes to me. Who speaks to you? Is it one of these people? If you got really, really quiet, whose voice would you hear? Listen to your dreams, too. There's an old African proverb that says, dreams are the voices of your ancestors. So let them speak to you and listen. Number 4, establish a physical space to honor your ancestors. I described one of my spaces earlier. Some people prefer to go to their loved ones' graves. Many of my older relatives, going back actually to the mid-1800s, are buried in segregated cemeteries in and around Oxford, which is in southern Chester County. A few times a year, I just go and walk around and speak to each of them. I touch the worn stones and imagine what they were like as people. My great-great-great-uncles and grandparents. Maybe the place you go is a church. I sit in the sanctuary of my home congregation and say a prayer for the hundreds of people who've sat there since the building was dedicated in 1885. Right now for school, I'm working on a project documenting the history of the congregation. And I got to touch the paper that founded the congregation in 1796 and looked at those 20 signatures and just thanked them for founding my home. Maybe your place of connection is somewhere in nature. As 4 says, specific trees, mountains, rivers, and other natural features may be culturally or personally related with as places of heightened connection with the ancestors. You might also seek out community temples or shrines, public monuments to the heroic dead, sacred groves, or other types of ritual spaces specifically consecrated for that purpose. It doesn't matter what space you choose. What's important is that it has meaning and significance for you. Number 5, make offerings to your ancestors. You decide what type of offering is best. Physical offerings may include food, drink, coins, cloth, tobacco, ash, tears, stones, or maybe something that you found. Maybe it's flowers. Maybe you bring fire or something that you made with your own hands. Maybe you offer song or dance, prayer, or practices of healing. Maybe it's forgiveness. Maybe you're releasing a pattern or a relationship that no longer serves. Maybe your offering is a commitment undertaken for personal or collective good. You'll know in your heart what's right to offer. So I hope that today has given you some food for thought about the importance of recognizing and honoring ancestors in general, and maybe some ideas on how you might honor your own in particular. I want you to ask yourself a question. Are you living a life that's worthy of the sacrifices they made and the love they gave you? would these people be proud of who you've become? As Jared Kintz has said, I am the now of the then. Am I preserving their memories? Am I living my life in a way that reflects my respect and gratitude for all they gave me? Are my current practices grounded in love and in that tradition? Because if it hasn't already occurred to you, for our children and grandchildren and future generations, we will be the ancestors. No pressure at all, right? So I'll leave you with a quote from Lawrence Overmeyer's story of his own family's history. Over the course of millennia, all these multitudes of ancestors, generation upon generation, have come down to this moment in time to give birth to you. There has never been, nor will there ever be, another like you. You have been given a tremendous responsibility. You carry the hopes and dreams of all those who have gone before. Hopes and dreams for a better world. What will you do with your time on this earth? How will you contribute to the ongoing story of mankind?